WWE Backlash 2025 is this weekend, so do you know what we do, my buddies and my friends? We act like nerds, which is the best thing in the ever, and we try and predict the thing. And we're going to start off with Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the Intercontinental title, which I did not have on my bingo card. And I think this one, actually, I think the show overall is quite cut and dry, but that's good. It means when we come back to looking at our prediction, we can go like, oh, right, we got all the things correct. Because I can only imagine this has been put there, one, in order to get Dominic Mysterio on the card, because he does have momentum right now, which is the same with Penta. It helps the Intercontinental title to be defended, but also the story between Finn Balor and Dominic can continue. Now, it is Finn Balor versus AJ Styles on Raw. 99% sure that's been confirmed. So I don't think I think Finn Balor is going to distract Dominic in some sense. I don't think we're going to do an Intercontinental title change. But now that I've said that, I look off into the distance, WWE did not assume that Dom would get that kind of response at WrestleMania. I think they've come out and said it kind of surprised them. And also, he was booked to win that as a heel. And ultimately, when Finn Balor leaves, he's meant to be the babyface. So maybe the Intercontinental title change was just done to get off Bron Breakker because, of course, he was going to join Seth Rollins' group. And you wanted to keep it on someone that's a super duper whooper mega babyface, which would be Penta. But then you can argue that Jey Uso is a babyface champion. I take it back. This one is way harder, but I think taking off Dom right now would be ridiculous. Even though Finn Balor accidentally on purpose costing him would help the story more, but there's still other things that you can do. And of course, there is the option that Finn Balor does distract, he does interfere, he does accidentally take out Dominic Mysterio. It looks like Penta is going to win, and who is going to appear from nowhere? Because this will be the Shenanigans Super Fun Time match. It'll be Chad Gable, probably as El Grande Americano, because he already interfered in the last match, so why would he ignore Penta this time? And that will move into a feud as well. I mean, maybe even start doing, it's going to be AJ Styles next. But my point is this, that you get to the AJ Styles Finn Balor match, there will probably be distraction there as well, because WWE is obsessed with this. And then maybe at that point, Finn Balor is out of the Judgment Day, we pull the trigger, maybe we just kind of eke this out a little bit more. And I could probably see Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio for the IC Championship at SummerSlam. And WWE does really enjoy taking their time with this stuff. There are certain stories right now that we could finish, and instead we're sort of adding a few days and a few weeks and a few months onto. But I think Dominic Mysterio is going to win. I don't think you can get that kind of reaction at WrestleMania and just throw it out the window. Like, there's even rumors and sort of new interviews out there and stuff too that it was going to be Seth Rollins versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship because Jey Uso got so over, we put him to that position. So if Dom has just done the same thing, why throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We may as well use what we've got. And does it really matter if Penta or AJ Styles or Finn Balor or Dominic is the IC champion right now? No, but it feels like Dominic is going to get the most from it. But I do think this is going to end up in some kind of a four-way maybe, and definitely the Finn Balor Dominic Mysterio match will do that. I'm going to say on SummerSlam. And while it might be quite difficult now, I would love to see Finn Balor eventually win it as a babyface again, because that guy's great. One of the most underrated talents, not just in WWE, but all pro wrestling. But I'm going to stick to what brought me to the dance to begin with. So Dominic Mysterio will win. There will be accidentally on purpose interference by Finn Balor. He'll be like, I didn't mean to. He definitely will. Carlito will be doing stuff too. Penta is about to win. And then Chad Gable / El Grande Americano is there. And it all gets out of control. And as long as we don't do this in other matches, though I do think we are, it will be all right. But like I've already told you, WWE is obsessed with this. We're also doing another title match. In fact, there's pretty much all title matches apart from one. Am I going to get this right? Because the US champion, Jacob Fatu, taking on Drew McIntyre, taking on LA Knight, taking on Damian Priest. Now, I didn't see that coming out of WrestleMania. I still believe that Drew McIntyre is going to go into a feud with Cody Rhodes, and maybe because we moved some things around, we put Drew in here just to give him a few weeks of, busyness, essentially, until he does do that when Cody returns on May 19th, which is like a week after Backlash, maybe 2 weeks. I think it's the same kind of story that we just talked about, and Jacob Fatu, I think, was designed to win the US Championship at WrestleMania 41. And he's actually the perfect parallel to Dominic, almost in the same way. He's meant to be a heel, but he's too damn good, he's too damn talented, he's too damn intense, and he has become a babyface too. Of course, you can still do the thing when Solo Sikoa also accidentally on purpose distracts him. I don't think you can get away with it doing it twice in one match. We haven't really gone all in with the Bloodline 2.0 splitting. It has just been tease. And given that Tama Tonga and Tangaloa are both out, so I hope they're doing okay. I think we can stretch this one out too. I think they should just have a banger match. And if I'm right about Drew, I guess LA Knight and Damian Priest have to get into something. Do we turn one of them heel? And that would probably be Damian Priest. I think that's a terrible idea. But if LA Knight and Damian Priest don't win, and I am right about the Drew McIntyre stuff, I mean, maybe Solo Sikoa could do something dumb, and that's the program we start building towards SummerSlam. That makes sense. Finn versus Dom and Solo versus Jacob for those two belts. I think that's pretty good at the Hot WrestleMania two-nighter that we're going to try and send through the roof. But it leaves LA Knight in a very precarious position because he wasn't able to get his championship back, probably because of some somebody else. And if Damian Priest is responsible for that, maybe Damian Priest can be the one to get pinned because LA Knight does something to him. Because then you can do that feud, and Damian Priest can be like, man, that's 2 losses for me on the bounce, and he can handle that because he totally gets it. But I just think Damian Priest would be the heel in that. Although WWE is more daring and more sort of thinking outside the box these days, so why make either of them the villain? Why not let the fans decide? Like, LA Knight could be like, dude, I was just trying to win a match. Damian Priest can be like, well, I'm just trying not to lose anymore. It's been a bad run for me. And that could be quite interesting. And I think they're in a very similar position since they are so over, but because the cards are so stacked at the moment, I'm not saying you can't find a place for them because they have a place right here, but maybe it's not as underlined as it was about a year ago, but that's the kind of people that should be feuding together. Then you do have 2 top stars, I guess, just under the main event level, and that only makes the show better. So I will go with that. What happens to Drew McIntyre, I don't know, because he needs to be protected more than any of them, because I do think he's going to be ascending up to that upper echelon. So that's an interesting one to debate. But I do think LA Knight and Damian Priest are going to get into it. I think LA Knight will do something not like cheating, not even underhanded, maybe something that actually is a genuine accident that is bad. And then Drew Claymore's LA right in the face. They're flying on the outside. Jacob hits his moonsault 1, 2, 3. I'm sure Solo will make some mistakes too, just so we can plant those seeds. I feel like I am overbooking this greatly, but then I watch Raw and SmackDown, and all those shows are overbooked, so why wouldn't you want to do it here? Although it is only 5 matches, but then WWE does do this. Sometimes you watch Raw and story happens, then you watch SmackDown and it is the same story, so maybe they will do it here, maybe they don't care. Maybe they put one as a first match, the other one like a sub-main event, and they feel like there's enough time between them that people won't go, wait a minute, it's the same finish. I mean, go back to WrestleMania Night 2, both excellent matches, but essentially the women's 3-way and the 4-way for the IC title ended the same way, with Io coming off the top rope and surprising someone, and then Dominic doing it too. Although I didn't see many people complaining about that. So maybe this is executed, we can do it. But I'm sticking with Jacob for 2. I do think his big feud at SummerSlam will be Solo, and I love Solo. Talk about another underrated gem. That guy's improved so much. He does not get the due that he does deserve. LA Knight, this is so dumb. And Damian Priest spin-off, and then Drew McIntyre does whatever he has to do, probably ranking more of his favourite matches on Dropped, whatever the hell that's called. And he goes with Cody. I understand I'm over-predicting here, but as there's only 5 more matches, I think that is more fun. If I do get it more right, well, WWE can hire me tomorrow. They won't. Laura Valkyria versus Becky Lynch is our other championship match. The Intercontinental Women's title is on the line. Becky Lynch absolutely has to win, and she should do it by cheating. She should do something disgusting. This should be something where you're like, I could never cheer you again, Becky Lynch, because how could you die or dive to such a depth to get this done? But it helps that Intercontinental Championship because finally we are changing it. Becky Lynch is the bigger star, which is no disparity to Lyra Valkyria because she gets better every single week. It can kick off a proper feud that once again can go all the way to SummerSlam when Lyra wins it back. They clearly get on. They clearly have chemistry. We've seen them had matches before, and they're more than fine. They're pretty damn fun to watch. That's what you got to do. It establishes Becky Lynch as a heel. Lyra Valkyria as the babyface on the chase, I think would work pretty well, especially because that promo she cut on Raw was her best promo by a mile, and I can only imagine that's what Becky's trying to do. You got to raise your game, you got to level up, and that's her job as a veteran, I suppose. And Becky Lynch is just being so damn good on social media. She did that interview after Raw and worked everyone. She just is in character all the time. And that line about Mercedes Monet's text message service, I mean, that is all time. Somebody give her an Oscar, even though that makes no sense. And also, if you do have a problem with Mercedes Monet having a text message service, you're a bit strange. Just don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Just ignore it. It doesn't affect your life. Stop saying disparaging things. I mean, you can say whatever you want. That's just how I feel about it. But it should be, I'm not saying you whack her with a chair or anything like that, but it shouldn't be a cut. It shouldn't be like, oh, that's an ambiguous thing. It should be very cut and dry. Becky Lynch went underhanded. Becky Lynch didn't know what to do. I'm sure Lyra should whip her ass for a while. We change that title. We feature it on TV, and we allow Becky to elevate it before Lyra wins it back at the elevated level, and that should bring up Lyra Valkyria as well. I like the feud. I think it's really, really good. I'm actually saying that it could be Bayley versus Becky at SummerSlam because they're really going in hard. Or maybe you do a 3-way. Either way, you can just tell the goal here is that people quite clearly are in Lyra's corner, and that's good. I don't want people to get called up from NXT and lost in the shuffle. That sucks when we do that, and it's far less now, but it has happened, and some of those people have gone on to get released, which absolutely sucks. I never want it again. Maybe it's Bayley versus Becky at SummerSlam, but right here, Becky Lynch walks away with the championship, and there's no more discussion point. She is a heel, and if Lyra can really sell that in a promo after the fact, well, that could be pretty damn good. Pat McAfee versus Gunther is, I'll call, our penultimate match, and I don't think he'll be put in that position, or maybe it will. I mean, Gunther has to win. I don't think Pat McAfee needs to be a ragdoll here. I think he should get flurries of offense, but ultimately it should be like that Simpsons meme. Stop, he's already dead. Because while Pat McAfee is actually quite a talented wrestler, we've seen all his NXT stuff, and his only bad match was against Vince McMahon, but, you know, that serves to reason. He is still pitched as the commentator compared to Gunther, who's meant to be a killer coming off a championship loss. And also Pat McAfee said some pretty bad things to him, character-wise, on that episode of Raw, so Gunther needs to get his revenge. But that's how it should be. Gunther is sort of playing with his food. He's knocking this guy around. He has become too comfortable, as Pat McAfee says. Pat then comes back with like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Probably gets something off the top, probably gets the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up. And as I say that, please do hit the subscribe button, because why wouldn't you want this kind of content in your life? When Gunther realizes, no, I need to smash this fool, power bombs, he's going to choke him out, given how he did it in the first place. And Gunther and Pat McAfee, I should say, should probably keep escaping that. I think you could even get away with the pass out rather than the tap out. It kind of a little bit lame. I think you can take that, but I think it gives Pat McAfee something, and he is fighting for the righteous nature of Michael Cole. So I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world, although that is something that wrestling does overdo. I think you should save them for very rare occasions, and most people should tap out, because that's what we would do in real life. But I think it's been well built. I think it's been well booked. I am excited to see it, and why not throw it on a random pay-per-view after WrestleMania? I mean, there's other matches I would have liked to see. The Sami Zayn CM Punk versus whatever we're calling them, New Evolution group. But I guess we can hold that off. We've got plenty of shows to do, especially there's so many pay-per-views packed into a small amount of time, given how late WrestleMania was. And you could have Goldberg here, I suppose. I do think it's going to lead to Gunther versus Goldberg. I don't have a problem with that, but I'd imagine that would be SummerSlam too. As I keep saying, Gunther's going to win that. He'll be the guy to retire Goldberg. That ain't the worst position to be in. And I'm sure if you told Gunther that in the late 90s, early 2000s, even 2016, he'd be like, yeah, I'd do that. We all know that Big E would be down. I think it'll be fun. I don't want to call it a let-up match, because I think it'll be quite brutal. I think it's going to get quite bloody. You may even see some of the red stuff, but Gunther has to win. Nobody wants to see Pat McAfee win, especially after Gunther lost at WrestleMania. That's obviously been super duper controversial. But Gunther's on fire right now. Gunther cut a damn good promo as well. He has this aura and this cinema to him. We don't want to take that away, given that Pat McAfee will go back to the commentary booth. So Gunther wins. It's way more entertaining than maybe some people are expecting, but he does kick his ass just a little bit. When we get to John Cena versus Randy Orton one last time for the WWE Undisputed title, I love it. We've talked about this. I get not many people are. When I say it's 50-50 as always. But some people are like, oh, but then the bell's going to ring. I don't care if they just stare at each other and play chess. It's good guy Randy Orton versus bad guy John Cena. I'd much rather live in a world where I got it than not. I did a video for What Culture Wrestling. Make sure you subscribe to them too. I freelance for them about The Rock. Everyone gets so mad about The Rock. That's why I love it. I love the chaos and the madness and the entertainment. Of course, I want my stories to make sense, and I feel like Dwayne Johnson should have been at WrestleMania, but I'm over it. It was a few weeks ago. I just enjoyed getting embroiled in that back and forth, and people being like, ugh. And it's the same here. I can't believe I get to see this with my own eyes. I'm not going to overthink it, because in my world, you can obviously tell me that I'm wrong. Pro wrestling is the most important of the least important things. Now, my out of nowhere booking, or my stupid booking, or my we shouldn't do this booking, but I would like it for all those reasons, is that the point of having R-Truth involved with both Randy Orton and John Cena is because he is going to come out, maybe once again, screw things up by accident. And I don't want to say he distracts Randy Orton, because Randy Orton's too big a star, but you come up with a way where it leads to a chain of events where John Cena is able to cheat, and Randy Orton doesn't feel like he's been properly beaten, and John Cena absolutely does not want to feel like he's properly won, because that's his whole character now. He doesn't care. He just wants to hold on to that championship. And then you could probably have John Cena still destroy R-Truth, which I know a lot of people want to try and get extra heat for John Cena. But I can't see why else R-Truth would be more in the mix than he was, especially when you have to have John Cena win and you have to have Randy Orton lose. And we know how WWE operates. They're going to want to form a protective bubble around Randy. So even though it is dumb, and even though you're going to get mad at me and probably sort of, throw weapons towards my face, which I absolutely do deserve, I do think John Cena is going to win, but I don't think it's going to be clean. It's not just going to be an AA, and I'm sure he's probably going to use the belt shot again. But I think you have to give more to Randy Orton. Travis Scott could be there, which is my worry. I'd much rather R-Truth than Travis Scott. But just from my goofy way of looking at wrestling, and given that R-Truth has been talking about John Cena for the last 10 years or whatever it is, I don't mind him getting involved. I don't even mind him being the sidekick of John Cena for a while. As long as eventually he whoops his ass, you can do that match or a Raw or SmackDown, make it super quick. And I actually do think that will operate in the right way, that people get super mad at Cena. I think it could happen, and I am going to book it in, there you go, as my official prediction, but I think there's other ways and means too. He doesn't need to be there. Again, John Cena can attack the ref, John Cena can punch Randy Orton in the balls, he can do all the things he's been doing to Cody Rhodes, and maybe Cody Rhodes is at the pay-per-view. I don't think Randy Orton is winning the championship, is my point. And I think if you can plant some seeds here too for Randy Orton heel turn when he does take on Cody, that can be months away, but we can lean back on it, which we did when he used to look at that belt when Cody had it. I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. I love it. I can't believe it's happening. I'm not down on it. I want to do the Dance of Joy. I get that some people aren't into it. More power to you. I love you all the same. But it's Backlash. Who the flub Who the flub cares? I'd much rather this kind of Backlash that we're used to do when you just repeated things from WrestleMania, especially WrestleMania 2000, whichever one that was. It 2000 when we did the four-way, and everyone knew it should have been The Rock versus Triple H, and a Backlash with The Rock versus Triple H. And they had a great match, and it did a great buy rate. But yes, John Cena is going to win by hook or by crook, and he absolutely will be crooky or hooky as well. I keep saying it. I don't know how else to put it, to be honest. It's just awesome. I love bad guy John Cena. I love how over the top he is. I love that he's a supervillain. Some people like who should be more serious. Screw that, man. I've got enough serious stuff in my life, and it's why I'll die on that hill that Rhea Ripley should have got into that 3 at WrestleMania just by signing the contract. That's the kind of wrestling logic I like. When somebody runs into the Royal Rumble and they're not even involved and they throw somebody else out, people go, oh, well, that counts. So how all of a sudden can you be like, well, that doesn't make any sense? None of it makes sense. It's all 2 + 2 = potato. That's also why it's the best thing that's ever been invented on this planet. Now, listen, nothing that I say matters. It's all a setup for you. So make sure you drop me a comment below and give me your Backlash predictions, and I'll keep an eye on them and see if anyone does hit a home run. I think if you kind of keep it simple, unlike me, you could probably smash this, and that'll make you feel good in your tum-tum. Then like the video, share the video, please hit subscribe, the notification bell, click the video on the screen to hear my take on the go-home show for Raw. Thought it was very, very good, actually, and CM Punk especially, and Seth Rollins and Jay are all very, very awesome. Simon316 on social media, GorillaMind.com/Simon. Use the code Simon to get 10% off all their supplements. It's the best fitness stuff you can buy. It ships worldwide. I wouldn't advocate for it otherwise. Simon J Men on TikTok, Simon on Cameo. They're super cheap at the moment. They're going to be super cheap for ages. Get your birthday, your anniversary, your Mother's Day, whatever the flub you want. ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller, Simon.BigCartel.com. And on that note, I draw a line under it. Enjoy Backlash, enjoy wrestling, enjoy Dynamite, enjoy Raw, enjoy SmackDown. There's enough crap in the world that we don't need to make wrestling crap too. I love you, my friends, and I'll see you soon.